Scribbled notes, scribbled notes when I wrote these quotes. If I offend, pardon me, there's more of me to grow. Creative in my process, enjoy the show. The will is different when you recognize the different strokes. Different folks, same goals, we all want the most. So when we reach the top, we can enjoy the toast. The type of bread we get is fresh about the bakery. Told them don't play with me, with or without a degree. Don't question my intensity, bravery. Similar to agencies that want to see you fold. So just pray for me. Pray for me. Einstein with my energy.
I've noticed that with a lot of authors. One of the things I was going to ask was marketing. A lot of authors struggle to market or struggle to stay keeping their book in the conversation. I've talked to some who really had really cool perspectives about how the book doesn't just lose its value because it was a year old, 2 years old, 3 years old. So you have to continue to talk about your book and talk about your series. What's been your experience with marketing books?
I got into Amazon or AMS ads early on. Well, by early on, I mean 6-8 months after my first book came out. And because I didn't even know what it was before that. So I did that. Now I spent a lot of time talking to other authors on social media and readers, and people see that, and that has helped me a lot. But again, I know a lot of people who don't, and they do just fine. I think it's critical in my particular situation. My book is a little different. It's not your standard farm boy fantasy or grimdark fantasy or straight on urban fantasy. It's weird shit. So people aren't, people don't grasp right away exactly what it is. And yep, it's a dragon book. It's a, or it's a magic school book, or it's not any of those things that are easy to grab a hold of. So, or it's Jim Butcher, or it's Kevin Hearn, or, or any number of the other authors who write more straightforward urban fantasy, wizard demon hunter with a franchise. It's not really like that. So even though it is urban fantasy, so it's not that easy. So I think just getting people, and you only get one reader at a time. But I struggled with that kind of advertising. But then there are classes you can take online. You can read a lot. Researching online is critical, to that kind of thing. And you want to do that before you go out and start asking of people a lot of questions, because you go out and you ask more experienced authors about a lot of stuff. They're like, well, have you read this or looked at this? No. Go do that and then come talk to me. Because otherwise, it's like, you want me to write you the books that have already been written about it? So, happy to help, but still, if you've already done some groundwork, then that helps a lot. And you can just do it from those kinds of things. And they have worked. The thing is that how effective it is changes a lot. What to bid, how to do this, how to do that is like, well, this worked great for a year and suddenly it doesn't. What do I do now? Right. So then you have to change. Yeah, then you have to try something else. I just got into Facebook advertising for the first time only when my audiobook for the full trilogy came out on Audible. And that was in last January. Very first time I ever tried it. Well, end of December, early January.
How'd it go?
And I flailed around and it was a horrible mess. And then talked to some friends, read about it, talked to some friends who had been doing it for a while. And now I do it regularly. And it's been critical for me to the success. And yet I'll talk to somebody else who's far more successful than I am. And I'm like, yeah, I can't get Facebook ads to affect my rank or sales at all, and they're doing the same thing I'm doing. It's just, you never know. What's going to work. And like I said, what works for one book doesn't work for another.
Yes. And I think a lot of that is important for anyone listening to kind of take in, that you're going to try things and it's not necessarily all going to work, but that's not a bad thing either.
No. No.
because you have to check off some boxes to say this doesn't work, so I don't do that anymore. And that'll help you with your business model as you're continuing to grow and
you'll throw some money away. You'll throw a little bit of money away, but you've got to just to know, because you don't know. I mean, you just don't know. My Facebook ads, if spend goes up and impressions and clicks goes up, my sales go up. And if they go down, my sales go down. It's just that closely tied, right?
Yep.
So it's and then I have folks who are like, man, I just turned off my Facebook ad and everything is better. I'm selling more books. How does that even work? It makes no sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens sometimes too. I've been so one thing I do when I'm putting my book up for free, I'll run ads on the book.
And that's part of a marketing strategy, right?
Yes.
Every once in a while you do price pulsing, you drop it to 99 cents, send out to your newsletters, right? Websites. There's all that stuff we haven't even come close to. There's so many things that you have to have.
And all of it matters, and all of it makes a difference, even if it's a small difference. Because I think a lot of times, you just said something earlier that I really wanted to touch on, is that you're really getting one reader at a time. You're touching one person's life at a time. So that's really all you need to do, is impact one person, and then they become a fan, or they like the book, and then they'll get the second, or they'll get the third,
and they'll tell people.
And then they'll tell people. Then they and it slowly expands. It's not going to be this, I get 1,000 people at once.
Yeah, exactly. So celebrate anytime someone posts and says, oh, I just read your book and I love your book. Celebrate that, share it, right? Because it is just one person at a time, one reader at a time.
It makes the biggest difference. And especially when you're starting off, you don't really have many fans or many readers. Every reader should matter. And then as you grow, every reader still matters, because that's what keeps you going. That's what keeps it working. I've been lucky enough to get my book reviewed by people on YouTube sometimes. Yeah. And I always love it, because one, I'm just a random person who lives in Connecticut in my mind. Yeah. They're in Canada reviewing my book and enjoying the series. So I always like to keep that in perspective when I'm struggling, or if I'm upset that I'm not getting more sales. Yeah. Like, look, there are people everywhere that are like enjoying the book, that are looking forward to this next one. Yeah. You're only going to get more people to read it as you continue to write. Yeah.
A review at a blog, is a thrill, fan art. I remember it was just not that long ago, like a year ago, maybe, when somebody posted their first fan art. And I've got a few now, and they're it's just like, whoa, holy crap. Because you see, like, Nicholas Eames is posting all this incredibly great stuff for Kings of the Wild, right? And Bloody Rose, and Pierce Brown with Red Rising. Of course, he's hugely successful too. But and I'm like, oh man, you've made it when somebody does that. And then like Felix Ortiz, of all people, super talented, posted some, and then Stas Borodin posted some, and I'm like, because then that these people who you love their stuff, they read your book and they liked your book and they drew a picture.
It's like they loved it enough to actually draw it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. So we're coming up on the end of our time. I wanted to give you opportunity to just plug where people can find the book, where they can get the series, because we didn't even talk about it yet, but your series has been one of the biggest as far as just success that I've seen from the self-publishing world. It's good.
I think it's the people who really love the book seem to really love the books. I wrote it for people like me. I wanted to write a book that I wanted to read.
Scribbled notes. Scribbled notes when I wrote these quotes. If I offend, pardon me, there's more of me to grow. Creative in my process, enjoy the show. The will is different when you recognize the different strokes. Different folks, same goals, we all want the most. So when we reach the top, we can enjoy the toast. The type of bread we get is fresh about the bakery. Told them don't play with me. With or without a degree, don't question my intensity. Bravery, similar to agencies that want to see you fold. So just pray for me. Pray for me. Einstein with my energy, mass times infinity.